If you're from East Idaho, or if you've ever used the beautiful river walk, then you've seen Keefer's cabin, which is on an island right in the middle of the river. The Keefer family came here in the early days of Idaho Falls when it was known as Eagle Rock, and the patriarch of the family was named W.W. Keefer. It's because of him that we actually have falls here. He was working on the railroad, and he became sort of a jack of all trades here, eventually leading up to the point where he built the retaining wall, which created the falls of Idaho Falls. Before it was just sort of a bit of rock with some rapids in the river, with some creative marketing techniques. He invited a lovely lady named Eldora Shoemaker to come out and meet him in Eagle Rock. They ended up with a quite large family, and the most notable of that family were a set of twins named Fred and Frank Keefer. Fred and Frank are sort of a symbol of the Old West. They were living in a time that was transitioning into the modern world that we think of today, but could still just grasp onto those straws of what it would be like to be a cowboy riding a horse down the street as opposed to driving a car down the street. Fred Keefer was a deputy sheriff, and he was also an amateur taxidermist, and his twin brother Frank was more of a professional taxidermist. He did a little bit of a better quality taxidermy. And he also was a snake charmer and a rancher for a while. Fred, he was oftentimes sort of thought of as a little bit of an outsider, if you will. He lived in that cabin on the island in the middle of the river. There's lots of stories about what went down at that cabin. Some of the most famous include that he had wild animals there with him. So there was claims of a bear and of a coyote, and those are not actually so far off. We can confirm that he had a bear on the island, and we know that he trained a coyote to jump on his back. He became friends with this coyote. We have an image of him with that coyote. He also was well known for participating in what happened on the other main island here in Idaho Falls. So there is a beautiful Japanese garden now in that area. But before that, there was a set of fish locks there where they would basically breed fish and then stock different areas with them. And it was Fred Keefer's job to feed those fish. And so what he would do is he would take a meat grinder and he would grind up some meat, and then he would go feed the fish, and then he would go clean that meat grinder in the actual river down below. He'd go down and he'd tap the meat grinder on the rocks to sort of clean it off. And he noticed that wild fish then started to come up to him because he would do it around the same time every day. They started to recognize this pattern. And he claims that he came to know those fish so well that he named one Old Eli, and he could get Old Eli to turn over so that he could scratch his belly. But Old Eli has a sad end. Apparently, there was a big fish fry that happened down the river, and Fred Keefer believed that Old Eli was cooked and eaten for dinner by somebody one night, so never to be seen again. In East Idaho, we have a lot to thank the Keefer family for.